Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Fundamentals of English Language and Literature Teaching, which is the paper number 10 of semester 3 of MA English Part 2. Today, we enter into the unit number 3, which talks about the approaches and methods of teaching English. First of all, in this video, let us get ourselves acquainted with what exactly an approach is, a method is, and a technique is in the teaching of language. An approach is a set of correlative assumptions dealing with the nature of language teaching and learning. An approach is axiomatic, which means that it has a set of beliefs. It describes the nature of the subject that could be taught. Whereas a method is the overall plan for the orderly presentation of the language material. No part of it contradicts, and all which is based upon the selected approach. An approach is axiomatic, while a method is procedural. And when we come down to the discussion of technique, a technique is implementation, that which actually takes place in the classroom based upon the method planned. It's a practical trick, a stratagem, or contrivance used to accomplish an immediate objective. So, the study provides teachers with a view of how the field of language teaching has evolved. An understanding of approaches and methods can be studied not as prescription for how to teach, but also as a source of how well used practices which teachers can adapt based on their needs. We can combine and recombine various approaches and methods in order to evolve as better teachers. Experience in using different teaching approaches and methods can provide teachers with a basic teaching skill. This basic skill can be used to add or supplement as they develop their teaching experience. So, Longman's Dictionary of 1885 describes an approach as different theories about the nature of language and how languages are learned. They are just axiomatic. Whereas a method implies different ways of teaching a language which has been proved to work out. And a technique is a classroom activity with respect to the methods that are employed. With this knowledge, let us move ahead to talk about various approaches and methods. Methods like the grammar translation method, the direct method, the reading method, the audio-lingual method, are various methods along with the structural oral situational method, whereas the rest are called as the approaches. We have the structural approach, the notional or functional approach, communicative approach, and the humanistic approach that we shall be discussing in the later videos to come. Based upon this, linguists have identified the approaches to be the structural approach based upon the structures of the language, the lexical approach based upon the lexis or the vocabulary of the language, the communicative approach that concentrates on the communicative capabilities of the learner, the humanistic approach that emphasizes the psychological base of the learners, the naturalistic approach that emphasizes the natural order of picking up the language of LSRW, and the task-based language teaching approach, which emphasizes on enabling the students to make the tasks and thereby picking up of the language. Based on these approaches, we have developed four important methods. The grammar translation method, which emphasizes on the grammar of the learning of the language, along with a slight translation being made in the mother tongue. The direct method that emphasizes the teaching of the target language without the use of the mother tongue. Dr. West's new method, which emphasizes on the lexis and the vocabulary items, and the audiolingual method, which emphasizes on the teaching of the structures and emphasis on audio as well as lingual, the oral as well as oral methodology. We shall be dealing with all these approaches and methods in the future videos to come. Thank you very much for being a part of this introductory video on approaches, methods, and techniques. Bye for now. Stay tuned for the next videos.